So, if you've ever had to reset the board and start over for something that you had no control over, you'll know what I mean when I say that that is soul crushing. It is such a grief process to experience restarting when you put time and energy into something, especially if you put years and years of time and energy into something. And sometimes it's a natural disaster, sometimes it's another person, sometimes it's complete random happenstance. And you just have to sit there and think, why did that happen? But something I've noticed is that it's a very human response, but it's also a very human response to get stuck in that grief and not move forward. And we've had a lot of that in my family this year. So I was thinking about how do we move forward? How does this happen? And I wanted to share my process for it. The first thing I do is think about where I want to end up. Sometimes this resetting the board process can become exciting if your perspective about it changes. So I think about, okay, I do wish things were different, but what can I do right now? And then, is the future that I was working towards still the future I want? Because now that my board is reset, so are all of my options. The future I want could be completely different. So when I think about that, once I've figured out what future I want, I can move on to figuring out what course of action do I want to take. Once I know that, I start to think about my options, and there's a few questions I ask myself. The first one is, will this course of action force me to change who I authentically am? If the answer is yes, I'm not going to go with that. So that's out of the option pool. The next question is the option I'm looking at going to force someone else to change who they authentically are or require someone else to change? If the answer is yes, that is not an option I want to go with. And then the third question I ask is the option I'm looking at sustainable? Do I have the time, the energy, the means, the resources to go with that option? If the answer is no, then that is not an option. Then I look at all of my options, and now here's the hard part. If the options on your list all force you to sacrifice something, that's another hurdle, right? Emotionally, we think about what we want, and we might think, I've given up so much already. Why? Why do I have to give up more? That it's more grief that you have to add to your pile. And sometimes that can feel overwhelming and completely like a block in the road, because the grief can sometimes be really great for that, right? Sometimes you have to sacrifice everything. If you're lucky, you don't have to sacrifice everything. So I like to look at my options and go, okay, of all the options here, maybe all of them require me to sacrifice something. Which of these options either requires me to sacrifice the least or to sacrifice the things I feel I can live without? And we just go from there. So there's a reason that be the change you want to see in the world is a cliche. And it's because very often you will be unique in what you care about, what you want from the world, and what you wish things were like. Does that mean that there aren't other people out there that want to fight for the same things you do? No, there will always be people that care about the same things as you. There's way too many people on the planet to be the only person who cares about something. But sometimes in order to get your life where you want it to be, it means you have to make sacrifices and you have to make hard decisions about what's possible for you. And that is a grief process. But it doesn't mean that as you grieve, you can't move forward. So if you are in a point in your life where you've had to reset the board for any reason on anything that you were hoping to achieve, I'm sorry. And I know that this process is difficult. And I hope that you are able to look at your options and find one that is the most bearable for you, that makes you sacrifice the least and gets you as close to your goals as possible. Good luck. I hope this helps, and thanks for watching.